I've been guided to sit down now and make a live video of all things, and it's to be about Reiki, but which part of Reiki, I do not know. Let's just see what happens here. This has never happened before, so I really want to milk this. I find that when new things pop up like this, for example, I'll give it a go and see what happens. Um, All right. If you get any questions about Reiki, pop them below. It could give me a starting point. But for now, okay, let's just see what's going on here with me. Okay, give me a sec. Okay. All right. So just sharing my story from the beginning. Okay. Okay. It won't all be in this video. I can tell you that much. My story. But for me, my life, the very beginning. Okay. I was born in Auckland, New Zealand. My mum was a Maori, my dad was an Australian, and the family that I was brought up in, we used to live in a boarding house filled with these men. These were older men and they were all alcoholics, and my father was as well. So being born into that became my normal, being surrounded by booze and carry on and everything. And as I grew up, I started, drinking as well, like followed dad in his footsteps. I think I started when I was 15. I know I started smoking then, and I started drinking a lot to the point of blackout drinking. Okay. I've shared all this on other videos before, but I've never done it live. And for some reason, I'm being told I have to share it again. Okay. And I used to be the ringleader in town. I used to work in Auckland in first in a belt factory with my mum, and then in a building society doing data entry. But I was the ringleader of the drink. So or maybe twice a week, we'd go out on the town and hit the grog. And that was my life. That's all I knew because that's all that I saw. And, think of this now in your life. Okay, I can see where they're going with this now. Okay. Think of this now in your life. What do you see in your life? What are you surrounded by in your life now that's helping you to be the way that you are now? Okay, let me carry on. Anyway, Dad was from New South Wales. We've got 12 in the family. The Aussie side of the family is huge, and the Maori side, mum's side, I've got my two sisters, and yeah, it was a smaller family in New Zealand, but so much more closer, yeah, than in Australia. We're all spread out here. And mum and dad came over to Australia for a holiday. And mum fell in love with the place, and me, I came too. Fell in love with the place and went back to New Zealand where we lived. And mum just kept on nagging, I want to go and live in Australia. I love it there, blah, blah, blah. So they sold the house. I was 18 years old and I was still working at telecom in Auckland. Then we used to make the phone books. Oh my God, is that telling my age or what? Phone books, yeah, the big thick ones. Anyway, in Auckland, doing phone books, mum and dad sold the house. And I said, I've got one more year here and then we get redundancy, then I'll come over as well. So they left. I was living with my boyfriend at the time. A year later, moved over to Australia and got a job with Telstra. So still doing the telecommunications work. Telstra in Brisbane is where I started working, doing checks. Yeah, on the OCR machines. Yeah, more data entry work. And again, I became the ringleader of the drink. So we used to go on the Brisbane River boats, the cruise boats down the Brisbane River, get on the booze there. Used to go clubbing maybe once or twice a week. I had sometimes we had massive groups of people coming, but there was always a small group of us that went out all the time, the pissheads, and dancing, drinking, carrying on again, because that's all that I knew, because that's all that I was taught. All right. But then I started getting, that feeling like this can't be it. There's got to be more. There's got to be more than this. And I didn't know what more was because I didn't have teachers to teach me that there could be more of anything, really. And so life went on, and one day I met Pete, my husband now. Pete, I think I was, 26 years old. And he didn't drink as much. So he was the yin to my yang. And so we balanced each other out. But my bad influence, yeah, wore off on him over time. Oh, babe, I love you. And kept on going out, having a drink and all of this. And then I got pregnant. Well, we got pregnant with Shayla, our first child. And hang on, before Shay came along, yeah, we lived in a combi van for 3 months, and we went fruit picking just down to Victoria and back up again. Because we didn't know what we wanted to do, and we thought, bugger it, we'll make it up. I mean, this is life. You make it up as you go along, you really do. So we were figuring out what we wanted to do. And out of all the places, we found Toowoomba was the one that we enjoyed the most. So we lived in a tent with the combi, and I ended up getting a job in Toowoomba again at Telstra. And this time it was with the headsets at the call centre, connecting calls worldwide. I loved that job. It was great. And we ended up moving into a unit together and started our life. And then Shay came along. Our first daughter was born. And I'm still thinking, there's got to be more. Is the more? And I didn't know. I had no idea that the stuff that I do now existed. No idea. And, going through life, still drinking. And then Corey came along, our second daughter, and going to work at Telstra at the call centre. And I started getting really depressed. I was, even the kids, when they were in nappies, I'd be in tears, just crying. And I didn't know why. I didn't understand what was going on. It was just like, there's got to be more, but I don't know what the more is. Drink, drink, drink. What is the more? Drink, drink, drink. Okay. Anyway, I was at work one day, headset on, answering calls, and I start bawling my head off with this headset on. I obviously couldn't take calls. Boss comes over and she goes, "We need to get you some help." And I said, "I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's wrong with me." And she said, "That's fine. We'll get you sorted." So they set me up with a psychologist, psychiatrist. I can't remember the name. Rocked up, had my meeting with her, and I remember the first thing I said was, "The trees aren't real." I didn't know I was seeing energy around trees. I could see the tree, but it had this like glow, and I thought the trees don't look real. So even that sounds like, oh my gosh, yep, lost the plot. Anyway, she evaluated me and she said that I had acute endoscopic depression, which is depression coming from within. She gave me Avanza, Zoloft, a bunch of, Band-Aids to help, uh, get better, supposedly. Now, I had drugs, prescribed drugs. I had a label on me. Do you think that made me feel better? No, that made me feel even worse. I had a label on me now, like, oh my God, it's official. Anyway, I lost my job because of that. She said, "You're unfit to work." So, as with that on top of everything else, I thought, fuck. you know, drink again. And that was it. I'd lost my work. I was in a pit of absolute depression. I was just going downhill fast, real fast. And it was years this crying started, and yeah, the kids got to know. Even Pete, he tried to help me. He couldn't. I'd always push him away. And when I was in tears, he'd say to the kids, just leave mum alone. She'll sort it out. Because that's what I told them. Just leave me alone. Back off. I don't want to be around anybody. Ooh, it was nasty, man. Nasty. And we got this tree down the backyard. And I'd go down there to cry until I got into some form of happy. So we called it the Happy Tears tree. I have no idea what the actual tree's name to this day, but to us it's the Happy Tears tree. It's still in the backyard. We're still in the same place here. And that became it. So I thought, well, I feel useless. I feel hopeless, worthless. And these are words, oh my gosh, okay. These are words that I was taught from my dad. He used to tell me, you're worthless, you are hopeless, and you're never going to amount to much in your life. That's what I was brought up with. And I started taking this on. I started fully believing it after what I had been through, which obviously I had set up with my own energy. I take full responsibility for it all. And feeling this way, thinking, poor Pete, he's the one making the money to pay the bills and everything. I need to do something. So I ended up making my own job. I didn't want to work for anybody else. It was too much mentally up here for me at that time. So I started cleaning houses. I loved cleaning houses. It was my way of contributing to the family, and but I was still drinking. And that's something that calling that I felt inside. Any of you had a big calling, you feel it like, but you don't know what the hell it is. So I'm thinking there's got to be more, but I still don't know what it is. Anyway, it was October the 6th, 2006. Yes, I was at my rock bottom. That was my day of, yeah, the lowest point in my life. And razor blades started looking pretty damn good to me. I did not want to be here anymore. I didn't want to do this anymore. I hated my life. I hated everything about it. And I was sitting on the end of our bed crying. I was a blubbering mess. Pete and the kids were in the lounge watching a movie, sobbing. And then I hear a voice. And I thought, right, you've lost it. You've lost the plot. And it wouldn't go away. And the voice said, go and get a pen and paper. I'm like, what? And it started pissing me off. It was so calm. Go and get a pen and paper. And it would not leave. And I started getting so angry with it until I thought, right, it's not going away. So I stood up, left the room, came out to the lounge, gave the fam like horrible look, grabbed the pen, grabbed the paper, went back in, shut the door, sat on the end of the bed. I said, here's your frickin' pen and paper. My head just went down, and this whole poem came out within, like, oh God, it was less than a minute. Ugh. Go look upon a blade of grass, go find your peace within, try meditation for your heart, and don't you dare give in. Don't get so angry with your life. Don't try to find some blame, for this will only make life worse and fill your heart with pain. I'm here and I'm watching you. I'll help you with the steps. So far, you're doing really well, so don't dare give up yet. I know some days are really hard. Some folk can't help you out. Your thoughts get torn, your mind gets sad, you want to scream and shout. But find that place within your heart, the place I'll always be. We've been together from the start and through all eternity. I love you, sweetheart, Mum. And, oh, after snapping out of it, that was automatic writing. I'd never done it before. And then reading this paper thinking, where the hell did that come from? And why is it signed Mum? That lowest point of my life was the beginning of my my upward spiral. Okay. So even though it was the worst point of my life, because I was ready to go, it was also the best because that poem saved me. That connection saved me. Instead of me focusing all my energy on poor me, life sucks, everything's so difficult, I don't want to be here. You imagine that energy? That energy does shit to people. It really does. But now I had this external piece of paper with all these words. So now my energy was like, where did that come from? How did it get here? And why has it got Mum at the end of it? So I was no longer focusing just here. I was focusing on this. And that's the thing. Just, one little spark, one external thing to change direction. That's where my energy started flowing. And that was October. In December, I was given a book by my sister-in-law called Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. Book one. Have you ever read that one? Anyway, I'm thinking, why is she giving me this book? Because the word God to me back then was like church, and I didn't go to church. No disrespect to anybody that does. Good for you. Do you, whatever feels best for you. Wonderful. I celebrate you. But for me, conversations with God, I'm thinking, why? Why would she give me a book about, God? I thought, right, I'll give it a read. Anyway, Neale Donald Walsh had a conversation with God, and God was telling him that he is God, saying that we're all God. And I finished the book and I'm like, righto, if I'm God, what the hell did I do that to myself for? you know, and just this awareness started happening within me, thinking, no, hang on, this can't be right. The Secret came out. I don't know if you've seen The Secret. You can look it up on YouTube. This was a while back now. And watching The Secret, thinking, wow, this is like the God thing. You've got your energy, you put it on a certain point of focus and believe in it fully, wholeheartedly, and stuff happens. I'm thinking, righto, I'm going to experiment with this. So I started with the toughest person in my life, which was my dad. I experimented with the law of attraction on my father. I'm going to leave that for another time. I'm going to make another video because this is nearly 15 minutes already. Now I know where we're going with this. Thank you, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this so far, but stay tuned. I'll jump back on another day and pick up from here, the experiment with my dad. And maybe you guys can try this on tough people in your life as well, because that blew my mind. All right. Anyway, guys, if you've enjoyed this so far, this was weird, because I didn't know where this was all going until it started going. And here we are. All right. I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below if you've read Neale Donald Walsh's books, or if you've experienced depression, or if you're going through it now, perhaps. For any of my clients, if they come to me with, those feelings, those really heavy feelings within themselves, I can only share what I've been through. So I get people to focus on one thing that's bringing them just that tiny spark of joy, because that's where your energy flows. And after being in that state for, it was over a decade, I was in that, I played in that energy because I didn't know any different. I really didn't. But that one spark, that one night, that one poem, that one writing that came out absolutely changed everything. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for listening. But yeah, I'll drop back in another day and we'll keep on going. Okay. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the energy that you absolutely R.